Bonsoir mes étudiants. Good evening students. Voici un nouveau vidéo. Here is a new video. The name of this video is vouloir, pouvoir, devoir. One wants, one can, one must. Three verbs frequently used in French with a similar irregular structure. We're going to talk about this. We don't have a verb that is to must. We don't have a verb to can, which means to be able to. We have it for canning things. To want, we do have a verb. But the French have a construction that is often uses the infinitive the way that they would use it with pouvoir and devoir. You almost always need, if you're using it as a verb, to have the infinitive of another verb next to it. And we'll go over that. These are very frequently used, and now that you have a bunch of ER verbs that you can find, knowing these three irregular verbs that follow a similar pattern will really help you, in my view, to learn a lot more language. When traveling and when speaking, the three verbs we are using today are particularly useful. I've given this sort of a travel theme, both in terms of the things that you are saying and the language I'm using, because it's actually useful there. And in our textbook, we have already encountered this verb group when customers speak. Je voudrais un verre de vin, s'il vous plaît. I would like a glass of wine, please. Je voudrais is I would like. We're not going to go into the conditional tense of any verb right now, but this is a form of vouloir. Pouvez-vous me renseigner? Can you give me information? Can you inform me, literally? Pouvez-vous? Can you? Me. Renseigner? Give information to. J'ai beaucoup de devoirs pour mon cours de français. I have lots of homework assignments for my French course. These are all useful expressions and are related to the lesson we are learning in this video today. And so here then are three useful verbs needed for travel, work, and other rhetorical situations in French. The first, vouloir, to want. Je veux. I would suggest you repeat this after me. We'll say it a couple of times. I would like for you to hear me say it and then for you to repeat the same sound. One of the things we've been working on in class is knowing that the way we would say EU, which would be kind of like an U sound in English, is not the way the French say EU, which is always E. So, je veux, tu veux, il veut, elle veut, on veut, nous voulons, vous voulez, ils veulent, elles veulent. I'm going to say this one more time and ask you to repeat after me. Je veux, tu veux, il veut, nous voulons, vous voulez, elles veulent. Voilà. And here are some phrases with vouloir. I'm going to give you a definition for a travel French word. It is absolutely a good one to know. If you are crossing a border or landing at an airport in a foreign country where they speak French, you are likely to see this word that is the first word after the Swiss cross here on the sign, douane. Douane means custom house or the customs officials that you have to go see. I would say je passe la douane, which means I go through customs. So this is the customs house of a Swiss-French town, la douane de Moël-sur-Oise. So here are some phrases with vouloir. Je ne veux pas quitter l'hôtel aujourd'hui. Avez-vous une chambre libre pour ce soir? Je ne veux pas, I do not want, quitter, to leave, l'hôtel, the hotel, aujourd'hui, today. Avez-vous une chambre? Do you have a bedroom, libre, free, pour ce soir, for this evening? Si vous voulez passer devant la douane, vous montrez vos passeports. If you want to pass in front of the customs officials is implied. It doesn't say officials, but that's how you would potentially phrase it. Vous montrez, you show vos passeports, your passports. Elles ne veulent pas rentrer tard ce soir car elles ont un vol demain matin. Elles ne veulent pas rentrer tard. They don't want to come back late ce soir, this evening, car elles ont, or car elles ont, because they have un vol, a flight, demain matin, tomorrow morning. The next verb is pouvoir, which is best translated perhaps as to be able to. When we say, for instance, the first case of this, je peux, we would say I can, but I could also say I am able to. So again, I'm going to say this twice, and I will ask you to repeat after me. Je peux, tu peux, il peut, elle peut, on peut, nous pouvons, vous pouvez, ils peuvent, elles peuvent. Once more. Je peux, tu peux, elle peut, nous pouvons, vous pouvez, elles peuvent. And I would have you notice some of the similarities structurally with vouloir. The sound is the same for the first three parts of the conjugation, peu, peu, and peu. And the first two are with an X, and the end has the third has a T. And then it changes to a different sound. From like je veux becomes vous voulez, nous pouvons, vous pouvez, and the conjugation looks largely the same. And then ils peuvent. Okay, so once more. Je peux, tu peux, elle peut, nous pouvons, vous pouvez, ils peuvent. And here are some phrases with pouvoir. Nous cherchons le musée, mais nous ne pouvons pas trouver le Louvre. Où est-il? Nous cherchons, we are looking for le musée, the museum. But nous ne pouvons pas trouver, we cannot find le Louvre. Où est-il? Where is it? Where is the Louvre? Right in the photo. Pouvez-vous nous aider? Can you, and then nous, we, to help, which means can you help us? Pouvez-vous nous aider? Mon fils ne peut pas encore nager. Il n'a que 5 ans. Remember we learned ne que is only? So, mon fils, my son, ne peut pas encore, cannot yet, nager, to swim. My son cannot yet swim. Il n'a que 5 ans. He only is 5. He is only 5. Elle n'est pas très sympathique, mais elle peut chanter très bien. She is not very nice, but she can sing very well. So we use these verbs fairly often. So here we are at the third verb that I wanted to discuss with you this evening. A word about these verbs, though, in their infinitive form before we get to the third conjugation style. This classing of 3 irregular verbs with similar conjugations has another thing that they share in common, which is that the infinitive version, like devoir here, the infinitive to need to, we would say, or we would say, you must, vous devez. To need, so the infinitive devoir, the infinitive pouvoir, and the infinitive vouloir are all 3 of them actually nouns as well as the infinitive. So in other words, if I want to say I have the will to win. To win is the regular ER verb gagner. I can say j'ai le vouloir de gagner. I have the will to win. And let's say I want to say I have the ability to win. I have the power to win. I have the power. Notice that pouvoir and power sound the same. I can say j'ai le pouvoir de gagner. I have the power to win. And thirdly, I could say devoir is a homework assignment, but in this case, if I say I have the devoir to win, I probably mean I have the duty to win for some reason. I would say j'ai le devoir de gagner. So, all 3 of these infinitives are thus nouns. Vouloir means will. Pouvoir means power. And devoir we use for homework assignments, but it also means the duty in much grander ways than just, get ready for the spelling quiz. So, let's conjugate this same as we have before. I'll repeat it twice. Je dois. Tu dois. Il doit. Elle doit. On doit. Nous devons. Vous devez. Ils doivent. Elles doivent. Once again, you see how though each of these verbs is inherently irregular, there is a similar kind of structure. One more time. Je dois. Tu dois. Il doit. Nous devons. Vous devez. Elles doivent. And here are some phrases with devoir, but first, in the interest of travel French, let me explain what this sign is. You would likely see this on an old railroad car, some of which are still in service from what I understand. And it says this strange thing, défense de fumer et de cracher. Défense, in this case, means it is forbidden to, idiomatically. Défense de fumer means no smoking. Et de cracher, and de cracher, cracher means to spit. So this means no smoking or spitting. It was during the Nazi occupation of France that the anti-spitting laws went into place. It is one of the few things that they kept were the rules for trains about spitting and giving up your seats to war wounded that they kept from the Nazis. There's not a lot to like about the Nazis, but I don't hate that they were against spitting on the subway. That seems okay to me. Anyway, here are some phrases that may be useful to you. Je dois téléphoner aux US. Où peut-on appeler à l'étranger? Je dois, I must, téléphoner, to telephone. I must telephone aux US. Or I can say aux US, I can actually say, but it's actually technically more proper to say to the US, that with that sort of almost Z sound. Où peut-on appeler à l'étranger? Where can one call to a foreign country? Vous ne devez pas fumer ici, monsieur. You must not smoke here, sir. Nous devons arriver à la gare à 8 heures pour attraper notre train. We must arrive at the station at 8 o'clock to catch our train. So in order to learn these verbs, I have 3 sentences you should translate, which is part of the homework. And then the other part is I would ask you to respond in French to 3 questions. I'll translate the questions for you in the video, but I want you to respond in French. The first 3 sentences are in English. I want you to translate them into French. So please translate the following. I'm sorry, those are my dogs having a little, play fight because this is my home and because they are bored when I teach French. I hope you're not bored when I teach French. All right. Please translate the following. I cannot dance, but I can walk. So remember that the French use the infinitive with pouvoir. So I would say the equivalent of I cannot to dance, but I can to walk. What do you want for dinner? Please use the informal you, the tu form, rather than the vous form for this. They must listen to the police officer when he speaks. Et donc, 3 questions pour vous. So 3 questions for you. 1. Que voulez-vous comme cadeau de Noël? What do you want as a Christmas present? Imagine Jeff Bezos is asking, not me. Quand devez-vous arrêter votre voiture quand vous roulez à la Nouvelle-Orléans? When do you have to stop your car when you are riding around New Orleans? Qu'est-ce que vous pouvez faire mieux que les autres? What can you do better than others? So I want you to respond to each of these in your best French. Of course, feel free to use dictionaries. This is a useful exercise, I believe. I think that it's one that will help you the second you are able to get on a plane and fly to France and do so, or drive up to Quebec, or end up in Switzerland at that strange named city with the douane, All of these places and all of these situations would call for you to know these three verbs. So with that, I set you forth with your devoir, both your duty and your homework. And I will see you in class. Bye-bye.